you divide up the action of building a nation state, the percentage of the pie is not going to be huge that deals with the presentation and the thrashing and debating of information. There must be men and women who are involved that are skilled laborers and skilled administrative people. We talk a lot about science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Regardless to what area of that you are in part of, it comes down to this. It comes down to, are you skilled in administration, or are you skilled in laboring? Because those two things are what's going to be needed to build a satellite community, a nation, hell, even an imaginary nation. You need those two. And so therefore, why I talk about skills, why I deal with skills, and why I try to recruit people, men and women with skills, you will notice that the people who like to listen to my show is an older, more educated, more focused crowd, because they basically appeal to what I'm saying, which when I talk about us as a people can go nowhere if we don't have skills. And like I said before, I get tired of having ideas, having concepts and things like that, and when it's time to roll out, nobody got the money to roll out and nobody got the know-how to roll out. I'm tired of that. I don't want to write no damn grant. I don't want to go down to City Hall. I don't want to hit the law library. I don't want to do none of that. I want to contact men and women who not only in fields, but is the man and the woman in those fields. And I know that when I contact them as when they contact me, that when I give them information on what needs to be done, they're going to know what time it is. They're going to know what they need to do, and they're going to be so skilled at what they're doing, they're going to make you laugh because they're so, they're basically so impressive in what they do. That's the kind of people I want to deal with when it comes to nation building. Listen, if you're on the street and you're hard on your luck or whatever, I want to deal with you as a healer. If you are just coming up as a young person, haven't chosen your career, I want to deal with you as a mentor. But when it comes down to nation building and the acquisition of your own territory, I don't have time to play around with you. I don't have time for you to be lying to me. I don't have time for you to be fumbling or stumbling on what you do. You need to know what you're doing and be committed to it, and your voice and your thinking and what you say, your language needs to show that. And I can tell within 5 minutes of talking to you if you faking and pulling my leg or if you're real about what you do. Because as they say, real recognizes real, and you should know by now that I'm real about what I do. And so either way, brothers and sisters, I talk a lot to my good brother, African Warlord X, and he's a part of the BAIO. And as talking to him, a lot of times we talk about the coming market correction. Do you understand what that means? Do you know what's on the horizon? Let me read this to you from Fall of America, written by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and then we're going to get on with the get on here. It says here in Chapter 20, Decline of the Dollar, the stronghold of the American government is falling to pieces. She has lost her prestige among the nations of the earth. One of the greatest powers of America was her dollar. The loss of such power will bring any nation to weakness, for this is the media of exchange between nations. The English pound and the American dollar have been the power and the beckoning of light of these two great powers, but when the world went off the gold and silver standard, the financial doom of England and America was sealed. Pound has lost 50% of its value. America's dollar has lost everything now as power backing for her currency, which was once backed by gold for every $5 a note up. All of her currency was backed by silver from $1 note up. But today, the currency of America is not backed by any sound value, silver or gold. The note today is something that the government declares they will give you the value in return, but does not name what the value is. But they definitely are not backing their currency with silver or gold. This is the number one fall, and it is very clear that the loss of power of the American dollar means the loss of the financial power of America. What will happen since there is no sound backing for her notes? We do not know. Okay, so think about that for a second. Please process what I said or what I read from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad for a second. And as you do, understand this. What we went through from 2007, really 2005, but 2007 all the way up to I think I want to say somewhere around 2013, they call it the Great Recession. And during the Great Recession, Basically, the dictionary says a recession is an act of receding or withdrawing. It's a receding part of a wall building. It's also a withdrawing process at the end of a religious service. But a recession in economics is a period of economic contraction, sometimes limited in scope or duration. And so, therefore, brothers and sisters, when you look at what's coming, on the horizon, there are many, many, many articles out there that talk about this. They say that the economy has been good for so long that there's time for a market correction. They said you can judge that something is happening because the stock market and the bond market is basically symbiotic with the economy. So if the stock and bond market is doing well, it shows that the money is there and the people are spending. But what ends up happening is if the money is not there, then the people are not spending, and you can predict a slow but steady decline. So if you know that there's a slow but steady decline, and the people who watch the stocks and the bonds are all telling you something there is to come, here's my question for you. What exactly have you planned to do? How exactly are you going to feed your family? And in the process of feeding your family, what have you prepared for when everything clashes? Let me tell you a quick story, brothers and sisters. When I married my beautiful and sweet wife, Fatima, back in 2008, basically in 2009, we had not been on vacation. I'm one of those men that it's very hard for me to go on vacation. It's very hard for me to even take time off. I don't get sick. I have a very good immune system. You know what I'm saying? I got good genetics. I work, my father would call me an American bull Negro. You know what I'm saying? I don't like the American part, but I'm definitely a bull. You know what I mean? As little as I am. And so, therefore, basically she was working for the state. I was doing my locksmith thing at that particular time, and one of her supervisors had a timeshare in Atlantic City, and they was like, all right, well, I'm not going to be able to take the time off. Why don't you and your husband take time off? He was like, great. It's the first vacation we're going to be able to take as a married couple. So we went down there. Mind you, I was in the nation and hardcore, boots on the ground in my other marriage, and so, therefore, never really had a chance to take a vacation, a good vacation, and really the marriage was not that great anyway, so didn't really want to. But either way, I digress, right? So here it is. We're at Atlantic City. I got my bags, my books. My lady has her clothes. We didn't have no children at that time, and we're checking into this nice hotel with a view of the beach. It was fantastic. You know what I'm saying? One of the Wyndham franchises. So his brother comes and he takes our bags and stuff like that. So one of my bags dropped, and all of these electronic security books drop out of it. At this particular time, I wasn't in the electronic security industry yet, but, I plan to read those. And, yes, I plan to read them on vacation. Yes, I did. And so, therefore, he saw the books fall out, and he says, oh, you one of those smart guys, huh? I was like, what do you mean by that, brother? He said, oh, no disrespect, son, no disrespect. You're just one of those smart guys. You like to read stuff and stuff like that. I said, yeah, brother. I said, the money seems to be sending out in the industry I'm in. I'm getting ready to jump to another one. I said, because, I got to make that dollar, and I really want to support and take care of my family. He looks at me, he says, brother, and this is straight up. He says, I was the man when I was in high school. I got all of the girls. Everybody looked up to me. I was the one that everybody thought was funny. He said, and I was talking to a couple of my friends the other day, and I said, if we weren't trying to be the man or class clowns, maybe we wouldn't be bellhops at the resort getting other people's bags. You know something, brothers and sisters? That particular talk really smacked me in my mouth. I was already a hardworking person. I was already somebody that was trying to be studious, but I had resisted my father's, constant lashes over the years that, you need to really get back into your career. You need to be certified, put letters behind your name. You need to be. So what I'm explaining to you right now is a double confession. First of all, what that brother said to me really woke me up. But second of all, what I'm saying to you is I didn't always take my career as serious as I do. And so this was in 2008. And you know what ended up happening? 2009, Obama got elected. The economy was at its worst. It couldn't get no worse. And slowly but surely it began to climb. And a lot of black people lost their jobs. If you need to, if you want to, because like I said, I'm not doing the work for y'all. You should go and you should look up and Google What are the percentage of black jobs that were lost during that Great Recession? What are the percentage of black unemployment during that Great Recession? And what was the percentage of black unemployment amongst teenagers and early 20s, black men and women, during that recession? And also, what was the percentage of black men that were out of work in that recession? And you want to know something, brothers and sisters? Those jobs ain't coming back, B. Those jobs are not coming back. So my thing to you is this. If you going on your day-to-day dependent on a job, and you go to work every day thinking your job is going to be there, you're the man, they depend on you pulling that same lever every single day. You know, I always give the picture of the 8 Mile where Eminem goes to get a job in Detroit, and everybody's pulling a lever, and then they take some steel and throw it away, pull another lever. If that's you, so to speak, if that's you behind the keyboard, so to speak, if that's you behind a register, so to speak, if that's you behind on a phone, so to speak, and you're not prepared for this next market crash, let me tell you something, brother. Let me tell you something, sister. From me to you, and I'm not trying to be arrogant, but quite frankly, to white people, you are plain Jane, and your plain Jane will make us all lame, and you will not be able to take care of your family. As Muhammad says, what should we expect even in the next 12 months under the fall of the power of America's dollar? This means that we have 100% inflation. What could happen under 100% inflation? Your guess is as good as mine. The power of gold and silver was once abundant in America, but the touch of the finger of God against the power of so mighty a nation has now caused the crumbling and fall of America. Okay, so check this out, brothers and sisters. Check this out. When I was younger, see, for me, you know, everybody has their own motivation for being who they are, for doing what they do, for going at it as weak or as hard as they are. And I am a firm believer that you really can't make nobody do nothing that they don't want to do. And that's why I am, as a minister, I look at myself as a healer, but I only heal people who want to be healed. In other words, I don't put my hand on people's head. I don't pray over you and all that other stuff, but I try to give you right knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and there's some other stuff that I try to do. You know what I'm saying? But the reality situation is you have to want yourself to be healed. You have to want yourself to be better. And if not, then there's really nothing I can do for you. And so therefore, you know, for me, when I was younger, let me tell you, you know, I grew up with a dad that was a business owner and a mom, you know what I'm saying, that was a banker. But when my dad and my mom split up, my mom was a housewife. So my mom basically, it was sort of like throwing my mom over the edge of a boat, and then she had to basically use a life preserver to try to swim. You know what I'm saying? The government can only help you but so much, and we lived in a very nice part of the neighborhood in the co-op. So, you know, you think about it. If you're in a co-op in Brooklyn and the average wretched house or wretched apartment is like $1,000, can you imagine what a co-op is? And the co-op is basically, you know, kind of a condominium, you know what I'm saying, where you co-own your apartment with the management of the building. And so therefore, you know, my mom did not have a lot of money. And my mom struggled to send me outside of the hood every summer because she believed that she was doing the right thing, trying to get me out of there. So what she would do was she would send me to this white Italian, half Jewish summer camp in a place called Brighton Beach, and I would go there almost every summer. The upside of it was I got to swim, I got to watch movies, I got to play, you know, sports, I got to do a lot of different things. But the downside of it was these was all white boys, and it was incredibly racist. Incredibly racist. I remember being on a school bus and camp counselors telling nigger jokes while I was sitting right there. You know what I'm saying? And my mom would send me back to that same damn summer camp every summer. So either way, listen, I'm from the hood, brothers and sisters. It is what it is. You don't have to believe me. I really don't care. But I'm from the hood, and I didn't have a lot of money. My mom would send me with as low as $5 a day to this camp, sometimes $3. And so because of that, brothers and sisters, you know, I used to go to this camp. All these white boys had $20 and $30 a day at this camp. And there was a candy store within the camp called a canteen, they called it, and they sold all sorts of stuff, Gobstoppers, Starbursts, and stuff like that. So if you're a child and you're going to summer camp, and all the other children at the summer camp got money and they buying gobs and gobs of candy before and after everything they do, and you ain't got but $3 in your pocket, and one of those dollars is to get on the bus, what are you going to do? Well, me, I started getting nifty on them. Are you too old to remember what getting nifty is? Yeah, I was stealing. So I started stealing candy, you know what I'm saying? I started swiping Starburst and stuff like that. I would go in there with my gym towel, you know what I'm saying, throw Starburst on my towel, or, whatever it was. I like Reese's peanut butter cups at that time. I wasn't in the nation. So I swiped anything I could. And finally they got on to me because I was, me, my brother, and this other child, we were the only black children there. So, of course, they was looking out for me to steal. And so, therefore, eventually they caught me, and they caught me like 2 to 3 times. And, of course, I lied and said I don't know how it got in there. But either way, I got the reputation for being a thief. So I ended up, particular group I was with, because, they segmented you by groups. And for some reason, because my birthday was in November, I was kind of a tweener. So they kind of put me in the lower grade group. You know what I'm saying? These dudes were not my friends, and they weren't even my age. Eventually they corrected the whole thing and put me with the dudes that were my age, but the damage was already done. Because the Caucasians that they put me that were in my age, we was kind of friends. They would look out for me. They even let me come to their house. But these younger Caucasians, they did not give a damn. And when I asked them for candy or crackers or whatever it was, they would be like, buy your own. You know what I'm saying? And so, therefore, I remember one day being with my homies that was in the older grade, and the white boys from the younger grade marching by. And my name, brothers and sisters, my slave name is Harun. You know what I'm saying? But nobody could really pronounce it, so they called me Harun. And they'd be marching through, Harun is a thief, Harun is a thief, Harun is a thief. And the counselor was egging them on. Say it again, say it again. This is my upbringing, B. This is my upbringing. Now, what are you going to say? If you was Ben Carson, you would sit there and you would say, well, you should have never stole, and you should have followed George Washington and never chopped down a damn cherry tree, our forefathers, and you would be full of garbage. You would. But that particular situation motivated me to always have my own. We as a people, we condition to punch the clock, brothers and sisters. We condition basically to go to work at a certain time, show up. If you got to be there at 8 o'clock, show up at 8:05 or 8:15, and then punch out at 4:25 or 4:20 at the end of the day, or if it's 5 o'clock at 4:45, go home, crack you open a beer, watch the basketball or the football game, forget about work. And so you have the mentality, people say, how do you in the morning? You'd be like, it's just Monday. When Friday comes, you say, thank God it's Friday because you just got paid and all this other stuff. And when you have that mentality, when the market correction is coming, how the hell do you think you're going to survive? How do you think you're going to survive when most of the jobs that are done by people that don't require thinking are going to be replaced by robots? How are you going to survive when they have now automated teller machines? How will you survive when they have now come out with software that's supposed to do your job and 5 other people's job within a click of a button? How the hell are you going to survive? How are you going to survive being Budweiser guy? This Bud's for you when everything that you do as a black person that's filling work is basically going to be done away with automation, computers, semiconductors, and software. How are you going to survive? Listen, I'm not trying to mash on you or be condescending because I thought like a lot of you do. But when we talk about building a nation and we talk about land infrastructure and nationhood, we are not there yet. We're not over on the continent yet. We're not over even in the. I mean, some of you brothers and sisters be bugging me out. Like you got your nation already. You do. You got your nation already. Like you have already basically circled it on the map. This is where our nation is at. This is where we be at. And you know that you lying. You know you're full of it. And I don't understand why people even entertain your madness. You already got your nation in all of these other continents, and it's up and running. And it's like if I went to your city, I don't see no nation. I don't see no nation. There's a lot of these cities, I don't see no black people, period. So I don't really understand it. But basically what I'm saying is that we as a people, we're conditioned to punch a clock, and we invest in, we can invest in insurance, we can invest in stocks and bonds, but do you ever invest in yourself? Do you ever invest in yourself? I have a stepbrother out in Portland that lives with my father, And my father, of course, is a locksmith and a heavyweight in the security industry, period. Electronic, physical. The only thing that he doesn't really do is network, and that's going to be my legacy, me and my son. But my dad is a heavyweight in the physical as well as the electronic. And my stepbrother grew up around him. I did not grow up around him. And sometimes they say that they of a man's own household would be the ones that betray him. That's a biblical thing. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they say a prophet is not without honor in his own home. I know you conscious community people, he's using the Bible, and yeah, whatever. So anyway, either way, my stepbrother does not have the mentality that I have or my father has. And basically, you know, they told him, they said, listen, he goes, listen, he says, because he works at a locksmith distributor. And he told my dad, he says, listen, you know, locksmiths come in almost every day, and they be wanting to recruit me knowing that you're my dad and all this other stuff. And my dad says, well, what the hell did you say? Why are you still working there? He says, oh, I'm going to stay where I'm at because I like working behind a counter. Nigga, you like working behind a counter? Do you not know they're going to automate your position soon? Do you not know that most people are ordering stuff online and that's getting better? It's getting smarter. It's becoming more efficient. When I say that, you think I'm talking to him. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. And basically what my father said to him, he said, you know, when that white man shuts his business down, your job shuts down, right? That completely went over my stepbrother's head. He said, do you understand what I'm saying? What I'm saying is your earning potential shuts down and closes when he shuts his business down. Completely went over his head again. I'm hoping that this does not go over your head. If all you want to do is work at Macy's, Sears, or whatever, and you have not gotten any skill, I don't care how many stocks, bonds, you know, trust funds, pyramid schemes, I don't know, I care how much Primerica, Avon, or whatever you invest in, if you have not invested in your own personal skill, whenever that person's business shuts down, you shut down. And this is my case for skills because I say again, if you're a nationalist, if you bang RBG, if you love Islam, if you are for a separate Israel as an Israelite and you say shalom, what the hell will you do when you get over there if you're over here punching the clock and when the white man's business shut down, your work shuts down? What will you do in that new country? We don't need you to be on the corner yelling out no more. We don't need you to be on the corner selling papers no more over there. We don't need you to be over there, goddamn, filing paperwork for people so they can get remedy. We don't need you over there to do that. What will you be doing if only thing that you do is take your damn card and punch the clock every day, or not take your damn card because everything is electronic, but punch your numbers in or swipe your card every day? What will you do? And quite frankly, brothers and sisters, what I'm saying to you is that differentiation means wealth. Differentiation means wealth. And if you're not different and you have not differentiated, then you're plain. And if you're plain, then your plain Jane will kill all of us. Self first. We, the black people in America, do not think for self first. Failing to think for self first is the greatest mistake we, the poor black people who are up from service to slavery of the fathers, can make. But the slave master's children, our failure, but for the slave master's children, our failure to think for self first is wiser than anything their fathers could hardly dream of in their day and time. Self first is, in over 100 years, we the black people have not learned to think for self first. This is due to the fact that we try to think for something for the benefit of the slave master, something to make him smile at the freed black slave. Boom. So think about it this way, brothers and sisters. You mean I want to get into a little bit more of the self-first mentality and understanding what it is to invest in yourself in opposed to investing in somebody else. We keep having a caller go in and out. Eventually I will bring you in, but I just got to flesh out this topic a little bit more, so please bear with me. Brothers and sisters, I remember hearing a story from my dad years ago. And when he first started his business on Fulton Street in Brooklyn, all of his friends were saying, and he didn't have many friends, but his friends in the industry were saying, listen, you got to go to the conventions. And my dad was already going to classes but never going to conventions. And he said, well, basically for you to go to the convention, because the convention is ran by what's called the Associated Locksmiths of America, it's a whole week convention. And, during that week you take classes the whole week, you know what I'm saying, and improve your knowledge. And so therefore, my dad was like, damn, but my business was shut down for 4 days. And that was the conundrum. Would you go to this convention, shut your business down for 4 days, and renew and update your knowledge and skill, or would you stay there and just plug away doing the same things? And my dad said that what he ended up doing was making the decision to shut his business down for 4 days. So for 4 days, his business on Clinton and Washington in Brooklyn, basically, by Fulton Street, basically would shut down, and he would take these classes in door closers and, pinning medical keys, high security keys, safe penetration, all this stuff. He said, when I shut down for 4 days, after I finished, my income would grow by 10s and 15s and 20 times. He said, because what I learned there was more than I would have learned just doing the same thing every day. Why do I tell you this story, brothers and sisters? And if you're a nationalist, why would I come on BAIO radio talking in such fashion? The reality of the situation, brothers and sisters, is this. BAIO, we are an organization. We want to collect brothers and sisters who understand that we need land, infrastructure, and nationhood. Land requires money, and land requires skill. It requires a certain kind of person that is going to invest himself in learning everything that he needs to know, either to cultivate the land or to purchase the land. And you cannot be that kind of person if you are simply laid back watching YouTube videos of this one and that one, and in your personal life, you are not dedicated to what you eat from. Because let me tell you something. To go to a new nation, let's just say you even just wanted to do it here in America, you got to have a survivalist mentality, brothers and sisters. We have to have the mentality that we are not going to be under the protection, the comfort, and the ease of what we know in America. We're going someplace else. And even if you want to do it here in your own place, which God knows, I think that you won't be able to do it fully, but you may be able to do it to some degree. You still got to have a survivalist mentality, because what you're saying is that you're going to do it by yourself. You're not going to depend on somebody to pay you. You're not going to depend on somebody to take care of you. You're not going to depend on somebody to care for your sick. You're not going to depend on somebody to regulate what's going on in your neighborhood, such as violence, crime, theft, and risk. You won't be able to deal with any of that. You and I, we are on our own, B. And the easiest inclination, or the easiest way for us to see whether you would survive is, how are you doing now? Now, what I'm saying is that if you're not doing the things I'm talking about, it doesn't mean that it's all over for you and you're this and you're that. I'm not like some of these so-called economic conservative dudes who will come on here and basically condemn you if you got children, or condemn you if you're a single woman. Or that ain't me. Trust me, that ain't me. But what I am saying is, I am now, by God's grace and through the blessing of the BIO, telling you what you need to do in order to get yourself up to speed. I am telling you what you need to do to get yourself up to speed. It is upon you to heed what I'm saying and get yourself together, because when this market correction comes, let me tell you something, brothers and sisters, you will have no relevance, and you will be no help to any black movement if you are just sitting there broke trying to collect some kind of benefits, which they're trying to take away also. And what really good will you be? You're going to be like me at that summer camp in Brighton Beach, trying to steal now-and-laters and have other revolutionary groups say the Black Panthers marching behind you and saying Doroba is a thief, or saying, Mugabe, whatever the hell your name is, whatever the hell you have chosen for your name, you are going to be the thief yourself. That's what you're going to be, because you have not done what you need to do. We have not done what we need to do to prepare for the market correction. And let me tell you something. If you think about that story I just told about my dad, let me tell you something, and level with you, who are scared to get into certain industries. Do you know most white boys' philosophy is very simple? I ain't going to do it unless the company pays for it. I ain't taking no classes. Come here, baby girl. I ain't taking no classes unless the company pays for it. Come here, sweetie pie. I ain't taking the classes unless the company pays for it. I'm not doing this and that. That's their mentality. And so with that mentality, they feel comfortable in the system of white supremacy because they understand that they got a whole bunch of back doors that they could take. You ever seen The Matrix, the second one, where they had this key master guy and he basically has keys to this whole interdimensional portal, and every time that they try to threaten him, he got a key, he can go through a door and he can escape? That's basically them. That's them. That is not you, though. If you don't invest in yourself, you are screwed, B. So let me just ask these couple of questions, and I'm going to close out. Actually, not close out, but I'm going to start taking calls. I do have 2 more segments, but that's okay. First of all, ask yourself this, as I ask myself this. How much of your check do you invest in your career? Now, if somehow my face is away from the phone or I went out, I want to ask that again. How much of your check do you invest in your career? The average amount for a person to go from the bottom to the top is basically 3%. If you invest 3%, right, Mommy Dearest? 3% of your check, every check you get, yes, Mommy, into your career, then quite frankly, you're supposed to be able to rise in a couple of years. The second thing I want to ask is, how are you looked at in your area, in your career? In other words, do people know your name? Yes, Mommy. Do people know your name? Do they know who you are? Are you known for proficiency? Are you known for dependability? Are you known for skill and differentiation? If people don't know your name in your career, if they don't say, man, so-and-so is a bad man when it comes to such a, I'm sorry, if so-and-so is a bad man when it comes to such and such, then basically, if that's the case, if your name does not ring bells in your field, then quite frankly, you are plain Jane. And if you are in fact plain Jane, then your plain Jane will make us all lame, and we're in deep trouble, brothers and sisters.
How are you going to build economics if you don't have a cultural, social cohesion down pat? If you're not a people,
good question.
Think about this. We're the only group of people that basically practice in our culture a culture of depravity and a culture of self-destruction. And
right.
You basically don't have anything foundation. And then people say, well, how are you going to build a nation? First thing about building a nation is building a family.
Yes.
Building a family.
Yes.
If you could build a family, let's say you have 3 brothers and sisters, you got a family. Well, if within one generation, your son, his son will grow up. What if you basically make your family the business? You guys are going to purchase apartment buildings, you're going to purchase land, you're going to purchase this, you're going to purchase that. And instead of everybody living in different places, when somebody, a college-age kid or whatever like that, or let's say one of your sisters or cousins somehow became a unwed mother or whatnot, what if you were able to put her in an apartment and therefore help her with the rent and stuff like that, but it's all in the family? In other words, what if we took our families and made them like dynasties, then or open up a business? Wouldn't you be able to give your cousin Ray Ray or nephew Ray Ray a job or something like that while he's going to school? Everything?
No doubt.
So if people don't value family, if they want to break up the black man and black woman, say family does not matter and everything, you're never going to build any community without building a family structure up.
Right. That's true. That is true, my brother. So what do you think about investing in yourself? This is the most important thing. It starts with the individual.
Right. You have to invest in yourself. You have to invest in your education. You have to be above the fray. Whatever you're going to do, you have to master it. Rise to the top.
Right.
Be the pinnacle. Be the absolute best at what you do. Be the best at what you do. And you said something very, very important. You said very, very important. You said that, when we talk about building a nation, we don't need these people standing on the street corner with a picture of Jesus and Marcus Garvey said, who would you choose? People like that, you're absolutely no use to us. I'm not trying to knock Brother, I'm not to the point where I'm not trying to knock like a brother Tariq Nasheed and everything like that, but he said something interesting that kind of concerned me. But I respect him a lot. He said that well, there's no money in conscious stuff, so I guess he's hinting that he's going to get into other things. Some books and CDs.
Right.
If you're trying to make money out of this, okay, that's one thing. But please don't put anybody like that in the same category as BAIO.
Exactly.
Because what we're doing, we're giving information. What Thomas is doing, you listen to his shows, my show, your show, we're giving out information, and we're not charging anybody a dime.
Nope. No, sir. All you got to do is have an internet connection.
Because we have the end result. We say, well, what do you want from us, the people? We want people to open their minds and listen and understand that, okay, where is your manifest destiny for the next 30 years? Is it the election cycle? And we see right now there's nothing going on in the electoral cycle. Black people are losing on every freaking front, economically, socially, politically, culturally. Culturally, even black music. They're even whitening up black music.
Right, brother. Right.
More and more white singers are singing R&B. They're basically telling you that they'll accept your culture and music. They love that, but they won't accept you, The black skin and all that stuff. Like, I got to get rid of that. In other words, basically, like you said earlier, we have to appease white people.
Right.
The black entertainers are useless to us because they're thinking about that red carpet. They think about the red carpet. I'll tell you what, I'm going to throw something out there. And I don't know, brothers, you guys may lynch me or you guys may like that. I think a key point of getting the land infrastructure nation off the ground is convincing some of these white people. Because the white people say, you know something, that's not a bad idea. Negroes will be like, okay, white people say it, it must be all right. So that's what really comes down to. Negroes fear white people.
That is true, brother. No, that is true. Let me ask you this, bro. Let me ask you this. And I definitely agree because anything that we do, somehow, some way got to be co-signed by white folks. But me and Steph Rob were talking about this on Saturday.
If I was never good until white people said, okay, it was all right.
Exactly. And everybody came in, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, I'm down for it, even people from the suburbs. But before, you know what I'm saying, it was just basically an underground thing. But me and Steph Rob was talking about this the other day. We were talking about the violence. Whoa. We were talking about the violence that was going on. Come here, mama. In Chicago. And we were saying that basically, you cannot really stop that violence like you want to in America because it puts you in a position where you and your adversary will be judged by the American injustice system. So nationhood itself is really the only answer, having your own nation, because if you had to deal with somebody, you know what I'm saying, there's no way you could really deal with it in a hostile host country.
Right.
What do you think?
Let me say something about the violence. The violence is indicative of the fact that the people, both the victims and the perpetrators, feel like they don't have a stake in the system or they don't trust the system they live in. They're just there.
Right.
And so therefore, as you said, why should I call the police? Every time I'm walking down the street, the police are pulling me over, harassing me. Why should I cooperate with the police and then have everybody? So therefore, the police say that's why we want it. Why? Because let me tell you something. Now we can spend all our time patrolling white areas and keeping them safe. See, there's only a limited amount of resources that a city has to do investigations and stuff like that. So we'll neglect the black community, use the excuse, rightfully or wrongly, that it's a no snitching policy, whatever like that, and then we'll say it's the black community. They don't want to cooperate with the police. Well, if you're going to put their pictures on the 6 o'clock news, why would anybody cooperate?
True.
Why, with all the technology,
Good question.
why couldn't somebody upload a video of a crime happening and be anonymous? No, but you're going to call that person in and make sure his name gets out there. Why? Because you don't want him testifying because you would have to do your job. So the criminals and the police are working together. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So anybody that lives in the
somebody
city
I know from, check it out, son. I know somebody from Chicago. As a matter of fact, he's a member of the BIO. And he said that it's a well-known fact that they have gang members actually in the freaking police.
Yeah. Well, that was uncovered and it's not funny. but Dr. was covered in New Orleans. This one lady called
Right.
in for record a crime, right? And they said, yeah, we got. I was like, well, what's your name? I was like, and the person down there taking the thing 911 dispatch called her homies up, and they had the lady shot.
Right. Mm.
So you don't know who you're calling. Well, give me a name, address, what you see, you know. And next thing you know, the gang members show up.
Right. Yep. So tell me what
I
you
don't
think
know.
about
Like
the coming market correction, big brother.
Let me say this. There's people who say, yeah, we're gonna build a nation with a nation. Well, you got Southside Chicago. Why don't you do that there? No.
Exactly.
No. I said, if you move to Wyoming, it'll be the same thing. Because the white people control the jobs, all they do is economically starve you. They got to co-sign on any engineering project, any infrastructure. The key word is infrastructure. You have no means of gathering capital and regulation and laws in place to build a road. To build a road, you got to pass a law.
Right. Right.
To lay a pipeline down, you got to pass a law. To build utilities, you got to pass a law. So how are you going to build anything if you don't have the ability to have laws? Wouldn't a nation state that you basically have complete control over autonomy over everything, where you could start your own telecommunications authority, your own national highway project authority, your national transportation authority, your national energy authority, and you could basically give the licensing and the subcontracting out to companies that's going to build those things, and you don't have to worry about the FCC. If you want to you have your own FCC in broadcasting, you give out broadcasting license. All the things that comes with sovereignty.
Right. No doubt. No doubt. Brother.
Why would anybody? I don't understand this. Why would anybody basically think that's so hard, but yet trying to do something in America? Like we got Dr. Clay Anderson. I have people. I gotta get Dr. Clay Anderson's book. I'm like, for what? What is he telling me that you already figured how to figure out? Yeah, shit is bad. Black people are this, implication, blah, blah, blah. No shit, Sherlock. Captain Obvious. What's the answer? I don't know. So I'm wasting my time coming down here and listening to you telling me how bad it is, but you don't have a solution. What about nation? No, that's out of the real book. No, we can't do that. We can't. Black African Infrastructure is the only real national organization out here.
No doubt, man.
And one day we're going to grow to the point where people are going to see that.
And let me add to the what you were just saying. You know, for me, I think a lot of times the reason why we like to listen to a lot of what's being said by doom and gloom preachers is that once we become so-called conscious, we like to believe we're above everything that they're saying. So we'll say, yeah, you really told them, and they needed to hear that. And I was glad when you was really getting on them. And it's like, Negro, you're talking about all of us, but you're talking about them. So I think that the reason why you have so many of these people who just run around talking about what's wrong is because brothers and sisters really, we would like to really believe we're above all of that. And it's only when I got exhausted with the whole building a nation within a nation thing that I began to realize you will always be lumped in the same crowd as everybody else until you have your own separate nation. If you do not have your own separate nation, then everything that Claude Anderson or anybody else is talking about includes you too, no matter how prosperous you are. Because like my dad said, he said to me, he said, you know something? He said, I make a decent amount of money. He said, but ain't no black people in America really making no good money. I said, what do you mean by that? He was like, because if you measure it to their white counterpart, it's always 10 times or 11 times less. So it's really not good money. It's good money to the people that's around you. But it's like this. It's like if you, my children growing up in the nation, right, my first 3 children, they were all super smart, and they all lapped all of the freaking people that children that they went to school with because they went to really bad schools in the beginning. And then what happened was is that I went to go put them in better schools, and I told them, I said, listen, I said, you guys, remember when they used to call me up to school and tell me that you guys weren't doing your homework or you weren't doing your assignments, and basically you use your intelligence to flip a switch on at the end of the semester and pass? You're not going to be able to do this over here because this is a different level of competition. See, to me, that's the same thing as you listening to, all of these different doom and gloom people and thinking you above it because you living in the hood with the average black man that just punches a clock and drinks a beer at the end of the day. But when you get into the big time with some of these cats that you read in your magazines for insurance and I read in my magazines for security, they said, oh, we cleared $57 million last year. Ain't no black people clearing those $57 million. Companies.
There's a few black people, but I tell you what, the black people that are doing that are with white people. In other words, basically, there is no, show me anywhere in America, I can find anybody to show me anywhere where a black man has made $1 million just dealing with nothing with black people.
No way.
It's never
no
happened.
way.
I know the nuances of business and everything. I know in the business world like this, like I tell, there's a lot of white people. I guess a lot of white people are hip to this too, because they know there's a lot of black people, radicalism in the black community. But they know when they're in front of us business people, and I got to do business, like I'm working on a business plan, a business agreement with different vendors right now, and I got to go down and sit down with different people, black and white, in their own businesses, and I got to help them out with stuff. I am not thinking about, this, that, and the other thing. I'm thinking about, I got to show numbers. They want to see results.
Right.
They want to see numbers. They want to see results. And they don't care my last name, McCullough, whatever like that, this, that, and the other thing. They don't care if your last name Muhammad, whatever like that. They want to see numbers. You know what I'm saying? And what it is, a lot of people that's in the so-called country have never been in the professional world before.
True.
In the professional world, you may basically deal with a client. He may be from Iraq. In the back of your mind, you may think, he might be terrorist. But the bottom line is you better get that contract. You better get him to say yes, and this, that, and the other, and move on, and you better keep him happy. You know what I'm saying? That's the real world. What it is a lot of black people who don't deal in the professional world, don't deal with business, don't deal with all stuff like that. They just say, blah, 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 we got to do this, blah, 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 black, blah, blah, blah. That's not the real world. That's not the real world. The real world is you need capital, you need people saying yes, you need space, you need opportunity. If you don't have all those things right there in place at the right time, not just have it, you got to have it at the right time, the right sequence, the right amount, and you got to basically go for it. We need, something, something I said this about BAL. We're going to have to start turning everything to our advantage. I know I met a lot of young brothers that are engineers over the summer, young black brothers that are engineers. But the thing is, though, here's the catch to it. Most of the ones that I met that were engineers, I talked about this to Thomas and a couple of people. Most of them, I talk to them, I say, I'll do this. And I'll have a conversation. This is how you build this. White brothers, man, to do the CAD, nerdy-looking brothers, you know what I'm saying? So I'm saying to myself, these are the type of brothers we're going to need. But how do you do that when they're, you talk of Black Nationalism, and they basically, their friends and associates that they hang around with all white because it's not cool to be an engineer and whatever like that. You know what I'm saying? How do a BAIO attract those sort of people and say, you know something? We understand the world you live in. 80% of the people the world you're trying to move in, you're trying to move in the engineering field. 80% of the people you're going to be going out with are white, whatever, like associate with, like that. We understand that. We're not going to freaking crucify you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
All we want is when the time comes, are you going to be there? You know what I'm saying, for us?
Right.
Same thing the Jews, everybody else do. Get that knowledge, get that thing, make a connection, a lifeline connection. Our brother Heru Ahmed. Can you imagine the connections he's going to make in Zambia?
Brother, man.
Can you imagine?
Man.
See, we have to do that. We got to tell people, look, if you got to live in Japan for 10 years, why live there? Do something. See, all this is resources. You're never going to have anything with only people you have around you are poor people, working poor people. We love them. Like you said earlier, I'm going to be your mentor. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You said it beautifully. I'm going to mentor you. Those are the people you mentor. Everybody, see, on the internet, we got too many people who get a Facebook page. They need to be mentored, but yet they're able to get a following. They got hundreds of thousands of views, and they're on top.
Oh, my God. Yes, sir.
And they're running.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. See, you know what? Let me add to that, brother. I got to add to that. I got to add to that. I put this out on my Facebook page the other day, and I really mean this because I think that this, and this was going to be my next segment I was going to do, as a matter of fact. I said, and I mean this, I am going to have 5 disciples. Not 5 disciples of, necessarily ministry or whatever. I'm going to do something like that, but that's not, relevant here. I mean 5 disciples in my field. And having 5 disciples in my field, I want these brothers, you know what I'm saying, to basically want to, they got to be studious, they got to, invest in their career, they got to listen to what's being said, blah, blah, blah. As far as I'm concerned, Brother Colin, if we all, as conscious people, or nationalist people, I would say, if we all mastered something, if we all paid our dues and rose to the top at something, it doesn't matter if it's in corporate world or in the business world, and we decided to take 5 other conscious people as disciples and bring them in, you know what I'm saying, even though they, whatever, if we did that, the black community would be better within 10, 15 years. It would.
Yes.
But the problem is that no black organization wants to do that. They give that lip service, but they basically just want you to come in. So what?
Let me say this while it's on top of my head. So you're exactly right. I said this on the show the other night. Remember that kid, Matty Rich, that filmmaker Matty Rich that came out? You remember him? Straight out of Brooklyn.
Yes, sir, I do. Yep.
And he made that Ink Ball. Beautiful movie, Ink Ball. I love it. I came on the other day on Showtime. Beautiful movie. Jada Pinkett, that coming of age movie. Loved it, right? He went to Spike Lee and said, Spike, I'm only 19. Take me under your wing. Spike Lee wouldn't take him under his wing. After talking all this black stuff and everything, that's why this Negro has the nerve to put out a movie with Chirac, which is a mockery, making light of a serious situation. And he basically didn't take this young brother. Bro, he only made 2 films, Matty Rich. He gave up on the business. Now he was such a break. They said he was going to be the next black Steven Spielberg. Man, his first film at 19. But Spike Lee didn't want to have nothing to do with him. Wouldn't finance him. He couldn't get black people to invest in him.
You know what, brother, though? But that's the problem. And I talk to Warlord about this all the time. When you're in any industry and you really doing well as a black person, it's very hard for you to find another black person that's going to look at you and say, hey, brother, like, let's exchange secrets, let's link up and stuff like that. Because most black men who are in some kind of industry and have moved to the top, when they see you as a threat because they have the token title and experience, and they basically say, if you get with them or you get around them, you may take their token light or their token distinction. So when they see you, they're like, nah, I don't want to mess with him. Ever since I've been younger, when I go places with my dad, whenever you see another black locksmith, he don't want to mess with you. When you see somebody black in electronic security, he don't want to mess with you. Up here in the capital region, I remember because my ex-wife, she, oh my God. Either way, she was always trying to find somebody to take my quote-unquote distinction as the only black locksmith or whatever. Because I used to preach that proudly from the rostrum, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I found another black locksmith. And, generally it'd be some Puerto Rican cat or something like that. But in any event, eventually some cat moved up here from New York City. You know what I'm saying? He had dreads. I thought he was conscious or whatever. Man, this nigga to this day ain't never said 2 words to me, brother.
All the phony conscious people. I noticed that there's a lot of people who call those conscious the most arrogant, the most self-absorbed, self-righteous. I can't be around. I'd rather I like being around ordinary working black folks who just you can sit back and laugh, chill, and everything like that. And that's all I vibe with them on. I listen to your music. Right. We like the same thing. Why do you think we get along so well? BL. We all have the same background. We're all in our 40s. And we basically remember the same thing. We're all basically from New York for the most part. Have the same background, stuff like that in the movement, same music, hip hop, and we come to the same coming of age and everything like that. And so therefore we get along on that vibe. We ain't just basically some out of space brother, Heru from outer space, Negro melanated brother from no. I know you as Brother Minister Daru. You only Tower Genesis. We have pretty much the same background. You're Muslim. I'm Christian. And this, that, and the other thing. We have a lot in common. So we just our religions are more similar than they are different. Because the bottom line is,
absolutely.
And another thing I want to talk about too is this: right now, there's a so-called religious war burning in Africa. In parts of Nigeria and Central Africa, Christians, militias are gunning down Muslim things. How is it that African Americans can have Islam and Christianity, and we have never been any conflict between black Muslims, black Christians, and Americans? What is it about African American culture that we never had that conflict?
Well, that's a good question, brother. And you know what's funny is, like, I remember when you used to say certain things on Facebook and used to criticize Africans for certain behaviors, and I used to squint. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, that's kind of rough. But the more you exposed me to what you were talking about, the more I was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, this is one of the reasons why people don't believe in our cause.
I took the risk that people hate me, you know, but I had to say certain things. Now people understand what I'm talking about.
No doubt. No doubt, brother. I mean, yo, you're not even, like, what I found out was you was being nice.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't even talk about half the stuff that was going on. And I was like, God damn, like, you know, I'm not trying to say that our people are, you know, complete, you know, whatever. But what I'm saying is that there's a lot of stuff over there that definitely needs to be corrected. And for anybody to be looking down at those of us who are in America, you got to be out of your cotton-picking mind, man, because there's a lot of issues over there. And the reality of the situation is that when we have our nation, it will definitely be headed by those of us from America to bring our culture, the way that we do things, the way that we run things.
Our domain.
Exactly.
Keyword is dominion, a domain. And then what we've selected as Africans come to us, you're going to basically assimilate with us and our value system and everything. You know, that Pan-African, that the African-American code that came out of slavery, which we knew the brunt of the white man, and we knew what he did to us and everything like that, that's what the world white supremacists hate and fear. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we got the brunt of it. You know, we got the real honest to God truth of what the white man is all about in America. You know?
Right.
In Africa, they couldn't, white people couldn't do that.
You said you related to my experience at that white summer camp. You were saying that, you said that in our chat room?
When I was, like I said, we moved to, from the city to upstate New York, so predominantly, mostly white community. I was the only black kid in class. I told you about that time in 4th grade, right? We did a Charlie Brown play, right? Now, I thought, okay, white kids called me nigga, this, that, and the other thing. I said, okay. They said, well, we need somebody to play Franklin. I was the only black kid in the class. I thought I was a shoo-in for Franklin, you know?
Right.
And guess what? They gave me to a curly-haired white boy, and then they said, well, he got curly hair. And then my teacher was like, here, right here, this is Franklin right here. And all these little white guys were like, no, he can't be Franklin. I said, then they tried to say, well, we can make him Pigpen. I'm like, how I can do Pigpen? You know? I said, so you know, this is Pigpen. So I said, I don't want to be your place if I'm going to be Pigpen. Why can't this be Franklin, the black character? No, they gave it to this kid, Vinny, with curly hair. The white boy with curly hair, he was Franklin. You know? But that's basically telling me, what you're going through, the same thing. When you're the only black kid, this, that, and the other thing, you're the spokesman for black people, and nigga this, nigga that, and, you know, sometimes they'll be your friend, you know, as best they could, and then, you know, this, that, and the other thing, but under their breath and whatnot, if you strike out and cause them to lose, nigga, you know, if you're playing basketball, and you're too good, nigga, you know, you get,
yes, sir.
Whatever it is, if you're doing good, you're okay. If you screw up, nigga, you know what I'm saying? That's just the way it is. You know, that's just the way it is. And so the bottom line, you always feel like an outsider.
Yep. I mean, you know, you could see it from the children, but the counselors, these are the people that they put in charge of you. You know what I'm saying?
And they laugh about it.
I don't. Exactly.
And they laugh about it. They don't laugh about it. They think it's a joke. I got called a nigga in front of my teacher, and the teacher didn't do a friggin' thing. And so it said to me, and these are the teachers I like, right? That's been years later, when I got to high school and everything, I said, yo, you sat in the classroom and let him call me nigga this, nigga that, and you didn't do nothing. But if I did one thing, you sent me to the principal's office. And so it told me that, because you always think the teacher's unbiased, fair, and the counselor and everything. And you're saying to yourself, what kind of system will allow somebody to basically, I had this one teacher, Mr. Pielli, right? He hated racism. You know, and that was the first time. Then I had this one teacher, my driver ed teacher, right? Mr. Margaret. He was cool as hell, right? And remember one time somebody was saying some racial stuff, right? And I got to the point where I was kind of laughing about it, whatever. He said, "Don't you laugh about that. That's messed up what they're talking about, what they said to you, this and the other thing." And the bottom line, he got to the bottom and he was freaking heated. He was cool. Mr. Margaret was cool stuff, you know?
Right.
And so it dawned on me and said, "You're right." And then it dawned on me, I said, "Yeah, I shouldn't have to take all this abuse. I was a kid, you know, I don't know any better."
But
you know,
man,
so therefore,
then,
as
saying,
an
but
older,
you were so young, you didn't really realize.
You didn't realize. You think it's normal. You know what I'm saying? When the
Right.
teachers don't say nothing because in the back of my mind I'm saying, you're right. Just a generation before this, I wasn't even. This is all new to probably them, having black kids even in school. You know, this is all new to them. So I'm moving up from the inner city to the white school and everything like that. They don't know how to take it. They just probably got a briefing saying, "Well, we got black kids here now and everything. Moving from the city. You know, this, that, and the other thing. Okay, well, we'll deal with it. You know, we'll deal with it. They'll just be silent about it. You know, and so therefore their silence is, we'll let the kids do the dirty work for us. We're not going to correct our racist kids and everything. You know, that's what it is." And so therefore that's why when people say, how did you grow up in like a middle class community and you became a nationalist? Because I have all these memories, bitter, hurtful incidents when I was a kid that I didn't know any better. Now I'm a adult. I said, wait a minute. I went through a lot because a lot of my friends that I grew up with, you know, we all have emotional issues to this day about growing up in a predominantly white community. You know, even when they weren't nigga, just the fact that you were always isolated, alienated. You know, you know everything was about color. If a girl liked you,
let me
white,
say this, brother, before I bounce.
Talk to her. Yeah,
because I got to get going. But let me say this before I bounce in. Oh, hold on a second. 1 second. Caller from the 646. Did you want to say something? Hello? I guess not. Anyway, let me say this before I bounce because I got to go at 6:30. But you know, brother, that's what's crazy to me about people who try to say, well, if you're from the suburbs or your family was doing better, then you really can't identify because we went through this and we went through that. And you grew up around white folks. And my thing to them is, fool, you didn't even experience racism till you became an adult. You was around nothing but black people. We was around white people before you was. So how the hell do you even know what racism is?
They had no idea. And I question, brother.
Exactly.
And I question people who never let the inner city talk so much about race. You never experienced white people before. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, you talk about big and bad. You don't know what they're capable of. You know, I've seen biker gangs, seen stuff like that. I've seen what these people can do. You know?
Right.
I've seen how strong the strength of these people. You know, how they have all the economy. They have everything. They have the streets and the economy. You ain't running no dang streets. They got the streets, the economy. They got everything.
Well, all right, big brother. I'm going to get going. It's been a good show. Thank you very much for calling in. And I will hook up with this brother. And I think that I'll try to do something with him either maybe on a Friday, I guess. I'll try to do something.
Let me know if you can get his email. I don't know if I think you can get. Did I make you an administrator? I made you an administrator, right, of the social network, right?
I don't think so.
I think I made you administrator.
I was there
if you're administrator, you can go into the members. Go into the members thing. Go into the tools for the members thing. If not, I'll make you an administrator, and all of a sudden you go in there and just get his email address. And then what you do is when you make the show up, you put his email address in there, and that sends him the invite, and he clicks on that and has his own studio page.
Okay.
When you do the show, when you create the show.
Okay. All right, big brother.
All right, brother. All right, Mr. Dawood. Peace, brother.
Yes, sir. Peace.